the cultural commission meeting for June 8th, 2020, or July 8th, 2024 is called to order at 5:32 p.m. If we can get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Duvall,
Here.
Chair Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier,
Here.
Commissioner Damiano,
Present.
Commissioner Rudnicki,
Here.
Commissioner Tozer, Commissioner Einberg.
Thank you, Director. I'd like to make a motion.
I believe we did hear from both Commissioner Everett and Tozer about their absence.
Right, I was just about to make a motion to have their absences excused since they contacted us.
Second.
All in favor of excusing their absences, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay.
I'm sending indication for when he'll be back.
Ooh,
Commissioner Tozer, he's been on for a couple of months.
No, he was at the last
he's
meeting.
at the last meeting.
Just we were out in one meeting.
Motion passes, their absences are excused.
Can I, who seconded that?
Randy.
The chief, the secretary in chief.
Then we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or removals to today's agenda? Seeing none, we will move on. Are there any staff announcements for today's meeting?
Yes, so we received some of the rubrics from the plant project, so we are able to move forward. I think maybe just two we haven't received yet from Chair Yeh and I don't know who else, maybe Frazier?
I don't think I've done mine yet, but I guess I've also been confused because we only have the 3 applicants.
Yeah, just because it's part of the policy that we score them, the submissions, then to be able to move forward, we need those things, so. Yeah, so that's where we're at with that. I'm not sure if you were able to turn yours in yet.
No, I haven't.
Oh,
We did not, however, get any more proposals, so the plan moving forward would be, once the proposals that we have are scored, we would ask the artists that have been scored if they'd be interested in taking, splitting the remaining, so that we could have a consistent theme and potentially they could have more work. So we could finish the project if that's acceptable with the commission.
And are we okay with that?
They need to find, there's one that needs to find someone to actually do the work on. Sure, they'd be able to do that.
Yeah, and there was also a third person who basically gave us an idea who said, would you like me to do something? I don't know if we ever got back to him and said, yes, please send us some things so we can see it.
Well, I think theirs was they couldn't do the physical work, but had a design concept. And would we then offer, so I guess there are 2 decision points for the commission. One is, do we want to send their design to the 2 who can physically do the work and ask if they'd be interested in doing that design and concept? And then secondarily, are those people who've been approved to do the work interested in taking on more work so that you can finish the project?
Chair Hernandez, I think you might have been talking about Joe Lee.
Yes.
And then at the following meeting, Commissioner Einberg brought in examples of their work and we had shown them on the.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Memory is not what we used to be. 50 is in 2 weeks. Awesome. That may be something for our next meeting to actually make those decisions.
And then I have an announcement about our partnership with the Snoqualmie Tribe, 2 things. One is, and I believe the flyer will be going out soon. The youth canoe voyage is landing in Duvall on July 24th at approximately 3 o'clock. So the city is promoting a greeting activity for anyone in the community that wants to come greet the Snoqualmie youth canoe journey. Here, the city will be providing them a meal, but anybody else who wants to come, and it's traditional for when they land for that community to offer gifts. And so last year was chocolate chip cookies. This year, the city's providing a meal, but if community members want to meet the tribe when they land, and bring them treats, I'm sure the kids would appreciate it. They're gonna be really tired when they land. Apparently the canoe also is incredibly heavy. And so last year helping bring that canoe on shore in McCormick Park was something that community members did too, but we'll be advertising that. And then I reached out to the Snoqualmie tribe again last week. We've been going back and forth about naming. They know the parks that have to be named. There are 3. There's one called Rio Vista and 2 that are in Toll Brothers that have been named by Toll Brothers, but are certainly not the names that we want to keep. And so the tribe is aware of what the parks are. We've had some communication. So this project had been attempted by the city prior to me getting here, prior to Rita getting here as well. And the partnership kind of broke down because the city was being somewhat directive about what they wanted for these park names, meaning they wanted the tribe to choose 2 people and would name the parks after those 2 people. And that's not how the tribe goes about naming their ancestral land. And so I have written and assured them, like, we're going to be guided by the tribe on what the names are. It's absolutely open. We have no preconceived notions about what the name should be, what they would be named after. Normally, they would look to, native species, native animals, something that represents the land that it's on. So hopefully we will hear back from them on kind of choosing some dates. Commissioner Bernicki, they did appoint you as a point person to work with the city on that project. The commission did. So when I get more information about who we'll be working with the tribe, I will put together a meeting for us. But I think it might be Jamie and Steve. So I'm kind of in email number 4 right now. So once we get it kind of more locked down, I'll put some dates on the calendar that you can meet with them and have a meeting.
So can I ask a question?
Of course.
Are you looking to, on a timeline, because I'm such a scheduled person, in like August? Or the reason I ask is because in September, October, I have a very full schedule.
Okay.
So until mid-October, then it opens up.
We're not on a schedule. We have a little bit in the budget so 2 kind of interrelated things. We are budgeted for $50,000 to do park signs, and you all have created this sketch for that. There's also developer fees particular to the Toll Brothers Park on getting these parks named with signage. And so the parks will have a name that's chosen by the tribe. And then we'll put the name on the park signage that's already been approved by this group and designed. There's additional money which is in this budget, but it's budgeted to a different line item where we're not under a strict timeline. So what we would like to do is have separate signage or at least art in that park to represent not just the city name, but something else that references the land and the tribe on that piece of property, or on those pieces of property. So it'd have kind of 2 sets of sign designs in those parks. But we're not under a strict timeline for that extra piece of it, but we need the name. Because we can't make the signs without the name, and it's in this budget.
Which for this year.
Yeah,
So it would require a meeting with them for them to let us know.
Yeah. but we can be flexible. I'll try to, so by August would be preferable for you.
It would be.
Okay, I can try to make that happen.
Awesome. The second sign, is that like a land acknowledgement?
Yeah, I mean, so we've seen in other parks where they've partnered with the different native tribes that, whether it's a totem or some other art that is something of the tribe. That we, would, or a different signage with native language or something like that. It wouldn't just be the city sign. It would have a secondary sign that has some, I think, educational and artistic component to it.
I actually really like that. When driving through Wyoming, I saw multiple signs in the constructed language that since they didn't have enough of it, I don't know which tribe it was, but they actually put up signs with the constructed language, letting you know what town you were coming into in English and that language, which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah, you see that a lot in British Columbia too. A lot of their street signs are in both languages. native people's language in English and sometimes French.
Anything there? Alright, then let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. I move that we accept the minutes of the previous two meetings, or the previous meeting as is. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of accepting, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes. And I can't see any public comment or public hearing, so let's go ahead and move on to new business, which will be our projects approved. Yes,
So.
Commissioner Beck.
Great news. I brought to the Economic Development Subcommittee of the Council the projects that were discussed at the last meeting. And they approved 4 projects that are relevant to the Cultural Commission. One is the Trolls refresh. So recall that that was money that was earmarked for something else in the budget, but council has approved using it for artistic purposes here. Okay. All right, hopefully it went away. So $5,000 has been approved for the troll refresh. And we have reached out to Randy and are putting together a contract for her. $2,000 in artist fees. And $3,000 in materials, city labor, and paint to paint the alcove. And has she met with Public Works, or we just went out with Public Works?
She hasn't met, they're trying to go out on the 16th, but Randy works that day, so I'm trying to see if we can reschedule to a day that she can make it.
The bridge closure begins on July 15th. And so we did have 6 weeks, 6 full weeks, by the way.
This
Yeah.
bridge being out?
This bridge being out.
You know, the one, well, it's kind of like, but.
What were you trying to tell?
What were you gonna tell ya? So Woodville Duvall Bridge closes for 6 weeks, beginning on July 15th. And so we did have Public Works go out and make sure that they could remove it. We're going to have Randy go out with Public Works so we can take some pictures of the entire project, including dismantling them and then replacing and painting. So bless you. I'm a little jealous. It's still there. So yeah, exciting. Yes.
And that was, just to be clear, I thought that we were gonna give them 4,000 of our unallocated 6,000, but are you saying that the Economic Development Committee is giving us 5,000 for that?
No. So I should have been more clear. The Economic Development Subcommittee doesn't approve that money. But it went to full council on approving the use of 5,000 of it. So actually all that's remaining, so it was 10,000 total. We spent a portion of it for the art installation at City Hall, so all that's left is $500 in that pot once we do the total project. And then, so that was full council. The Economic Development Subcommittee approved, goodness, I don't have, I didn't bring my laptop. They approved the $5,000 extra for First in Virginia. And then they approved, was it another $5,000? $6,000, I think, for the mini mart mural. And the bronze statuary. That project has been approved, so thinking about staging them, the mini mart mural, as the project was conceived, would still go to students because it traditionally has been a student-led art. So we wouldn't do that call for artists until school gets back in session. But we could do the call for artists for First in Virginia because that has been approved by council. So it went to the Economic Development Subcommittee, they approved it, went to full council last week on July 2nd, and they approved it. So all your projects, including the ones that were in the budget but needed a little extra money, and those that weren't in the budget but thought was a good idea, are all approved. So, and then there's a 4th project that was not before the Cultural Commission, but is relevant to the Cultural Commission. So down at Depot Park, if you're looking at the train depot and kind of in reference to the police department, there's a little bump out there. And they approved that bump out to become a stage. So we're going to put shelter over it, and it's wired for electricity. And so you could have a little 1 to 2 person band out there, putting on music in that park. And so we're going to also string some lighting. So it'll be a little mini stage to have performances in that park.
Is that the area where during Pride we have music playing, that little area down there, like between the depot and the
That's
fire
where
pit?
Canby was, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
So they're gonna put a stage on that, so it's a little more usable, and we'll clean up the back, the vegetation is, gets where it encroaches on that space a little bit, but yeah, so $15,000 to make that into a little music location. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was exciting work, imagining what, having the first Virginia mural and having a mini mart mural with a little treasure hunt bronze statuary project. I mean, all of that work will be probably done by, and the planks up November, very different feel throughout the corridor of Main Street than a year ago. It's really exciting. So I want to thank you all for the work that you do for the city, because it's gonna be really, really cool this time next year.
Appreciate it, thank you. Do we want to see about getting that call for artists just started now, so that we have it available to vote on for next meeting?
I would say yes.
Then I would like to make a motion that we have our staff create a call for artists on the First and Virginia project for next meeting that we can vote on and approve.
Question first, does staff have the capacity to do that?
Well, I will share with you, I think our next meeting is July 22nd, and I will not be here. I am leaving out of town tomorrow morning, so I'll be out through this week. And then I'll be in next week, so that I will have time next week, but I will not be here for the next meeting, but you all don't need it if you have a draft of it. So you don't need me here, is what I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Can I ask a
Good question.
So, again, forgive me for missing, is that very large mural, the very large one, which and I missed the charrettes that you did and all that, which I'm sure was budgeting. Is that phased in, or was there a budget in for the whole thing to be done at one time, or how are we doing that?
No, so it's going to be, well, it can be a staged project, but it's gonna be 10 panels initially. With the greetings from Duvall across it. And inside the letters will have Duvall through the ages. Painted, the city will paint the entire mural, but the concept for it is community-based painting, where your call for artists really is to get a sketch muralist for that initial section. And then over time, you all in your biennial art plan, if you want to add to the murals moving out across the rest of it, you could, but it'll at least get something up there. With the idea that it's kind of like a paint by number for the community to engage in.
Okay, so that they can come and facilitate painting stuff.
Yeah, and we'll close down the street, we'll get some food trucks in, party environment,
Awesome.
yeah. And so council approved a little more, this 10,000 probably would get most of just 10 panels, 8 to 10 panels done, but I brought it to the economic development subcommittee and said with a little more funding, it really could be a community event that where we buy paint for the community and something a little more collaborative. So they said yes.
Oh, they like the ideas.
Then I would like to go ahead and reissue that motion to have staff do a call for artists on this that we can vote on for the next meeting. Well, do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Great question, because I've started to worry about that.
We are going to budget season, so.
You're keeping honest.
Yeah, the next part was the depot Park City, but I believe you already talked about
Yeah.
that at this point.
So one of the reasons why I put it on the agenda is just to say it's going to be done before next year. So as you think about what you want in a biennial art plan, if you want to add performances, just think of that as a potential venue. For groups that might want to do small shows.
I think that would be an amazing idea, and I kind of want to branch out from just paint and sculpture at this point, maybe we can get performances by partnering up with the IDFA and such.
Have we ever done a comedy festival?
Not
Do
sure
you want
where-
to-
A little bit.
Okay.
We,
Comedy's good.
I don't know, maybe Commissioner Wernicke has some background on this. Rita and I can't quite put our finger on what happened. So we pay for poetry. We don't know where it's read. Or if it's performed. It's been this long-standing thing, there's this line item in the budget that I inherited around poetry, but I have absolutely no information about it. It's one of those things like the red stapler in Office Space, like I don't wanna take it away. But I don't know what it is, and so I would love to find out more about what the poetry contract is, and if we do have poets that we're paying with the city. Resources, which is great, it would be good to be able to showcase those poems. I don't know, Commissioner, do you know anything about the poetry?
No, I've never, and that was 14 years of service, seen or heard anything, that was funded for poetry, but that's interesting, poetry is good for you.
Yeah, that's
I've heard
perfect.
it was in the checks.
Well, they check it, it's an organization, but I've never seen the contract, I don't know what the expectations are, like, are they performed, are they spoken word? I mean, it doesn't matter the kind of poetry, but it would be nice to showcase all the people who received this funding for poetry.
I once heard it was done at the elementary school, so maybe I can dig into that a little bit, but yeah, that's the only thing I had ever heard was that maybe it was done at the school, so.
But it would be good to maybe showcase poetry one night, especially on those cold November nights and February nights, I mean, those are the fun things that, you know, bring people out of their house. Poetry jam or something, you know.
Soggy poets,
Oh,
Yeah, right?
I know that there's a poetry group, a local poetry group that meets like every week or month, I think, but I don't. Nobody ever said anything about them paying poets.
Yeah, so just a little something for you all to think about.
I would like to see Star Trek in the park. We've done that all the time. You get fans together who actually reenact an episode of Star Trek in a park,
That would be.
Kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
kind of like that, they don't show it in the background, they just act the parts.
Yeah.
But I've seen that, I've seen Hamlet in the park, where they do just random people do Hamlet in the park,
Yeah, I've seen Shakespeare in the park.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very.
I like Star Trek in the parks though, special, we're building our budget for special events next year, sorry,
Star Trek.
adding some stuff in the park, that'd be fun too.
Three entities, 9 episodes.
Does that kind of just tell us?
One of the things that Rita and I are working on for September, end of September, is National Hispanic Heritage Month. Is to do a movie in the park at the Doherty Farm to show Coco.
Oh.
And get flags from the line of entry to the big movie theater
Nice.
environment.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And
I'm excited about it. I love special events. I miss my calling as a party
I
planner.
think it did.
Anything further? Right, well, we'll go on to existing business, which is the biennial work plan. I took a look at the link on there, which pointed back to our art policy of what our biennial work plan is. And the fact that we need to come up with a goal statement, what our goals are. Literally, in the policy, our goals are completely laid out for us. And now that I can get the computer back up and running, what I did was I created a seed statement, which basically is a place to start and then branch out on what we need. That seed statement, assuming you all want it, this is just volunteered out there, is the goal of the City of Duvall's Cultural Commission is to maintain and expand the city's already vibrant art scene. That's all I have for them. What I'd like to do is take each one of these points and assign it to a person here to take it and expand on it based on that goal statement. Did you all have anything you wanted to say before I jumped in with my own stuff there?
No, so I mean, at the last meeting, we had a couple people volunteer for some of the components. I know Commissioner Tozer said he could work on plan for maintenance requirements for public art. Without looking in the minutes, I think somebody said that they would try to think about the identification of opportunities for collaboration with outside entities like DFA or other arts organizations, or even the chamber for that matter.
I believe that was Commissioner.
Yeah.
She had a lot of comments outside.
So a couple of these have been taken, I mean, so I do wanna offer that when you all are kind of putting together things, the city staff can help you develop it into a plan with, you know, a pretty cover page and all of that. If you all get us the content, we can create the structure for you, and to have it in time for the budget. Preliminary budget goes to council on September 17th with the hope and goal that we would also have the draft preliminary biennial art plan also to council on September 17th.
So we have two of the points taken here. Does anyone have any want to take any of the other points? The only one that doesn't really need to take, the point that doesn't need to be taken is the goals for public art, which I think is taken care of in the seed statement.
I can contribute like little bits here and there, and I know that sounds so sporadic, but I've got a lot on my plate right now. So, like things like, you know, site selection, there are all kinds of things where I'm driving around going, ooh, that'd be fun. So I could throw a few ideas out there, but I can't
Dedicate.
commit to
Okay,
having something cohesive and something I feel good about saying, yes, this is exactly how we should proceed.
okay. Does anyone else feel that way?
I don't, I was wondering, identification of any known funding mechanisms for public art and Duvall, is that sort of researching grant opportunities, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so when council wanted that particular provision put in the public art policy, the idea was that yes, council would fund art in the city, but we don't have a public art tax in Duvall. So a lot of other cities, as part of their developer fees, you know, do, which we have in Duvall, like transportation benefit districts and things like that. Other cities also have either a portion of their sales tax or a portion of developer fees go to public art. We don't. And so when city council put this into policy, the idea was that it should follow the budget so that projects could be budgeted for and approved by council, but that every biennium, we're also thinking about grant funding opportunities so that when council is making their budget choices, they could anticipate some amount of coverage for some of the policy or some of the projects based on different grant funding opportunities.
So that would certainly require looking at that policy because you have access to that information.
Yeah, and so some of it you could do on your own, like For Culture and a couple other organizations that we know do public art and art funding. But yeah, working with staff, I mean, and I guess to go back to a question that Chair Hernandez asked me was identification of opportunities and needs for public art across the city. That certainly can come from the commission, but you all can ask for our help too, because we have pretty good access to information and you know, we hear from the public about what they want, and I'm certainly happy, well, not in the month of July, because I didn't do it today, and I will be gone in the next meeting. But last council meeting, I gave one idea about a native plant art exhibit here at the visitor center with decorating the stairs and doing something with that space down below, creating like either a water fountain or, doing something with native plant species in this area, whether it was a pocket garden with a mural on the stairs, because we heard from the community that they want murals and they like the theme of native plants. So there are a bunch more ideas like that that I have that I can generate for you all for the first August meeting, so. Like identification of opportunities and needs for public art, the needs. You have some pretty good data, we got a lot of data from Duvall days and that public engagement. So we can help you with that, but ultimately, if you all have ideas too, you should put it, you're fine.
Are we looking for specifics on this, or are we looking for? Like a working plan, like, is this something that we're gonna say? This is exactly what we're doing, or is it, this is how we're gonna go about the things that we're doing?
I think it can be both, so there is a part of it that says strategy for equitable distribution of public art in public places. But if you think about this as kind of a twofold document, one is. This is our strategy, these are our goals, these are the things that we're gonna work towards in the next biennium. But if you don't have specific projects with price tags associated with them, they won't get funded. And so you wanna make sure that there are some asks in this document that council will put money towards, otherwise. Your next 2 years are going to be a lot of talking and not a lot of projects.
I think one of the problems that we've had a lot, is. Trying to figure out what something will cost realistically. Having some sort of. Information on that, seems like it's super useful. Mostly we just had Commissioner Brodnicki going.
Yeah.
So,
Do we know any resources?
What I would say, let me get my phone out, just kind of being pragmatic about this, is. You're gonna your commissioner is second and fourth, right? Mondays. So our meetings are the 12th and 26th. So. On the 12th, we should have a pretty robust conversation about. The kinds of projects you wanna see. And where you might wanna put them. With the idea that by the 26th, staff have. Vetted the ideas. And come up with an estimate of what we think they're going to cost realistically. I mean, one of the challenges in this biennium that we had with all of the things that were in this biennial budget. Some of the things have been rolled over for years and just never gotten done. So the $10,000 First in Virginia mural, that had been rolled over for like 4 budgets. And so when I got here, I don't believe in rollover. I believe in if you say that it's in the budget. And you program for it in this budget, it should get done absent. Some. Emergency. But your budget is both a financial document, it's also a strategy document, it's telling the community, we care about this, we took the time to budget for it, we said we were going to do it. And so when I got here and saw that there were leftover art commission things, I'm like, no, this has to get done, we said we were going to do it, and I don't wanna roll it over anymore. The community wants it done, we're gonna do it. So, looking at the calendar. On August 12th, we should plan for a longer meeting. Rita and I will be prepared with all the ideas that are in my head, that you all should have all your ideas too. And we come up with what we want to price and what we want to vet, so that by August 26th, we can vote on what projects you want specifically in the biennial art plan. We'll have more time on September 9th. To get that kind of locked in and vetted. And then we'll present this to council on September 17th.
There, can I speak?
Okay, so
So on that longer meeting, almost it could be sort of like a little mini retreat for us.
Yeah, we can structure it.
Yeah, because that's a big hall. But I was thinking, so there's so many things and so many folks with great ideas. Wouldn't it be good as a presentation to the council, for us to have like a vision for plan that we're going to present to them. Because I feel like, you know, you could pick, oh, I want this and this and this, but if there's no vision or direction of what you're doing, the purpose, then you're just gonna get all kinds of things that you're gonna wonder, well, did we spend our money correctly here? You know, and there's clear consensus in the community about what they want. And I think we're headed on the right path with the idea of incorporating the community. And in your idea, is to bring in some unique things. So maybe the vision is about unique things that are part of our branding of the city, you know? And so what we're going to, in the vision, we offer things that other cities don't have. Maybe that's part of our vision of what we see. So I just was wondering if we could have a moment of just putting down a solid vision, it could be just one sentence to start us as we start to coalesce all this information and pull it together to build the biennium to present to council. That way, when we go to the council, we can say, this is the vision that the commission has come up with, and here's how we are going to execute on it. Here are the ideas.
I had kind of considered that with the seed statement that I made, it was literally just a start. One of the things that we all may want to do is consider what we want the vision of the commission to be, and then come back at the next meeting and then massage that.
We toss some ideas out now over here.
Okay, and if you have ideas for now, go ahead, Mr. McNabb.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would suggest as your schedule is the 22nd, when I'm not here, like taking the time to really think about your mission, vision, values, goals, like however you want to frame it. Cause that will, I think Commissioner Bernanke is right, it will help you pick the projects that you think you want to come prepared with on August 12th. August 12th, we can set up kind of like a workshop. I'll think about some ways to maybe, you know, we have like performances and ideas for murals, and we'll figure out how to workshop them, and I'll set the room up as more interactive for that day.
Is that the 22nd?
No, I think the 12th, because the 22nd, if you all take the time to come up with your vision, or, you know, your set of guiding themes for this biennial art plan, you don't have to be locked into it. It really is, you know, just for 2 years. That might change over time. So then you have 2 weeks, no, actually. 2 weeks then to, based on what you decide on the 22nd, what are the kinds of things you want to workshop on the 12th? Realizing by the end of the 12th, we should have a set, and you know, whether it's 10, 20, however many of project ideas, so that on the 26th, you all can vote on, you know, based on what city staff has vetted and what we think the costs are and the viability of the ideas. We would have that information on the 26th. And on the 9th, kind of your final vote, your final decisions, a draft of a plan. And then, and we would present it on the 17th with the hope that, you know, Rita and I can certainly present your plan, it would be far more powerful if the commission presented it on the 17th, or members of the commission. September 17th, sorry.
Oh.
If no one volunteers. If no one volunteers for that at the time, I would do that.
Okay,
For the 17th, speaking city council.
oh, yeah,
If I'm able to do that, I will do that. Unless someone else wants
Maybe we can go in and do
to. Right,
like a whole quasi theatrical presentation.
we could make it a fun.
We can see on it.
Start hiring the council.
I'm trying to imagine this council, but that's awesome.
and we don't all have Star Trek uniforms.
Then in that case, I would actually suggest that we hold off on the vision for today, but think about it for our next one, and then the next one we'll all present them, and then we'll massage them, see if we can merge them, pull them apart, whatever we need to do to get that vision statement. So then I will go ahead and, well, we can just put that on the agenda for the next one. Yeah, we can just put that on the agenda. I don't think I need a motion for that, do I?
So you would have so far two things on the agenda, that and finalizing your decision points for the plank project.
Right.
And in regards to the list, I would be interested probably in the identification of funding mechanisms.
We can work with you on that.
Final, decision.
Like I don't know, research that, looking into options.
Yeah, and I have some access to some grant databases that I can look at as well.
Anything for America's?
Do you understand what they mean by striving for the equitable distribution of public art in public places? Is it just so that everything doesn't go into Depot Park?
Yeah, on top of that, I read that as access, like ADA access to the pieces as well. Do we know exactly what that is? Can it mean all those things?
And I think it can mean all those things, so as I recall, the council discussions. That one didn't generate a lot of discussion, though. At a higher level, we did talk quite a bit about. Really being attentive to ADA issues, and I think this could be both equitable in terms of location. So that, you know, Main Street isn't the only place with art, equitable in terms of, genre is the right word, mode of art, I guess, whether it's, you know, murals, performances, that, you know, we're not just solely focused on painters, that, you know, we have sculptures and wood artists and performers here in the city. And then I would say also in location. You know, one of the lovely things about the mini mart mural and doing those bronze birds that will be reflected in a mini mart, the theme was birds of the valley. And then the commission approved last week and council said yes to, for every bird that's on that mural, that the city will put a bronze replica of the bird somewhere in the city and do like a scavenger hunt for these bronze statues that will be throughout the city. And so thinking about like making sure like one's at Doherty Farm and maybe one's at Big Rock, which makes sense, it would be an osprey because we have a big osprey nest there that we put up. So, you know, things like that. I think if you wrote a paragraph under that, we've considered the equitable distribution of art in the following ways. I don't know that they had any one particular definition of that, but I think you want a paragraph that says we considered it in the following ways.
I'm willing to throw myself on the landmine that is criteria for ensuring equitable access to displaying public art. I know some people I can talk to get statements for how it's been handled in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, approaching this with kind of the growth mindset, right? That, you know, every 2-year cycle, we're doing a little more, improving a little more, talking to different people, bringing new voices in.
That's actually something that I would like to do. First off, I never really got an answer to this, but I wanted to ask the commissioners. So I proposed one of us take a bullet point, but you had mentioned that you couldn't do it. Does anyone else feel that they can't do it that way? Those of us who can take some bullet points, and those of us who can't can just contribute as needed.
I'm very good at contributing to things where people have already decided something and I can come across and say, no, that won't work.
Understand.
It's super valuable, but it's also not terribly low. I do very poorly when it comes to, here's the thing.
I would definitely appreciate some feedback.
Yeah.
Voice of reason.
Yeah.
In that case, what we can do is those of us who want to take bullet points can, the rest can just do what they give our ideas, bits and pieces here and there. I prefer point people simply because we can focus on one thing, but if you're focusing on something else right now that's really, really, really busy, I understand that, cause I'm getting there myself.
I think I'm taking the bottom one.
Down with that, so we have, I think we've covered a lot of them, so we have funding, collaboration, maintenance, so the 3 from the bottom. Actually 4 from the bottom. Cause I think strategy for equitable distribution of public art and criteria for ensuring equitable access to displaying art across artistic disciplines and viewpoints, those kind of go hand in hand. You all are doing together the identification of opportunities and needs for public art, which will kind of go with site selection and projects. So for the most part, you have that kind of covered.
You can put me in for the strategy for equitable distribution of public art in public places, it doesn't, I don't know what it means. But
Well,
here's what I do.
It would be a good academic exercise to define it for yourselves.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they can do it for you. So,
when the idea is when we come back,
In response to strategy for equitable distribution, like what do they mean, what's equitable? What's the definition of that, or how they come up with that word?
See, that's what I said.
Because that to me can mean a lot of things.
on top of that, that also means that we can define
and that's, I mean,
Is that
this
what
is
they want
all
to do?
brand new groundbreaking
Yeah.
work, I mean. All you have is what they approved last August, or I guess we got this approved. I presented it to council, a draft of it. I wanna say second meeting in August, and then they worked through it September, October. Maybe into November even last year, I can't remember how long it took, but it took a bit. But this is what you have, and these terms of art are not defined, and you all kind of get to do it.
Yeah.
Fine, I guess when I look at equitable strategy and distribution. All I think, to me, that's the open door for every possible, anybody, anything. Invitation. And I need a strategy for it, I need a plan for everybody.
Yeah, it feels very like, this is a thing this is a process, it's not a thing that's defined. Like, here's things, it's here's how we're gonna go about making sure that what we do is across.
It's just very much word equitable all the time, college applications. Well,
Yeah.
you know, and it's funny what people think it means.
I think maybe if we focus on the not excluding
Yeah.
aspect of it. Because, you know, we don't want, you know, 5-year-old scribbles everywhere,
Well, and we've also identified that, you know, I talked to our public works director, and our community development director and said, okay, where can I paint in the city? That is just the city. And the answer was, we don't have very many places left that are not other people's property or other entities, like the stairs at KCLS are KCLS's. Now, could we go to them and say, okay, let's collaborate and partner and like, so here's where I get into idea generation, and hopefully Rita will write this down because I will forget. Like, for instance, Commissioner Tozer really wants or has an idea for the book bench again. Partnering with KCLS to paint their staircase and put the book bench at the bottom, for instance, but those aren't our stairs, those are not the city stairs. You have no control over it, we would need to build a collaboration partnership. We can put the book bench there, because the sidewalk is the city, but the stairs are not. So painting them would have to come with a partnership with KCLS, hopefully they would say yes. I mean, if we didn't impose maintenance costs on them, they're likely to say yes. But the answer to like site location and equitable distribution, the answer is the city doesn't have much space for murals because we don't have that many buildings. And so you're kind of limited to what the city has, or asking others to partner with the cultural commission in the city on it. So then you have to look for other opportunities, right? Whether that's commissioner or performers, or finding places to add sculpture, because it can't all be murals. the policy doesn't say that it should be all murals, and there is an opportunity for a ton more murals, because we just don't have the space.
One last note on this, like I've mentioned, for the third time, which I'm not trying to just drill it into people about taking a bullet point. Another thing is you're not exclusively doing that. If you have notes on other stuff, by all means, the whole idea is to come to the next meeting with a ton of ideas that we can massage into a proper goal statement and vision. So, if you wanna do what you wanna do, go ahead and do. It's not a requirement. Anything further at this point? No? Do we have anything for good in the order today? Okay. Then I will go ahead and call this meeting adjourned at 6:22 p.m. Thanks for stopping by.
Um,
Why